Hey guys, good morning. Derek from Bomb Socks here. Good to be with you again for another day of Bomb Bites. We're helping you feast upon the words of Christ, and we're doing it one bite at a time. Man, we've had a roller coaster ride in Alma. You had chapter 1 with Nehor. That was crazy. You got chapters 2 and 3 where you got Amlici and the Amlicites. Great lessons there for all of us, but things finally start to slow down in Alma chapter 4. Look at verse number 1. Now it came to pass in the 6th year of the reign of the judges over the people of Nephi, there were no contentions nor wars in the land of Zarahemla. Whew, it is about dang time where you have a little bit of a break right there. Verse 2, but the people were afflicted, yea, greatly afflicted for the loss of their brethren, and also for the loss of their flocks and herds, and also for the loss of their fields and grain, which were trodden underfoot and destroyed by the Lamanites. So there's an aftermath of all of the wars that they have been dealing with. Keeping in mind, back in chapter 2, you lost almost 20,000 people in one day. That's a ridiculous amount of loss and casualty, and they had wars going on during that time period right there. So the people are suffering from loss during this time period. Verse number 3, it says, so great were their afflictions that every soul had cause to mourn. And they believed that it was the judgments of God sent upon them because of their wickedness and their abominations. Therefore, they were awakened to a remembrance of their duty. That's a great statement right there. And that is a good thing, where we are awakened to a remembrance of our duty. And it usually seems like it is the trials and difficulties of our life that reminds us of that. And the next step is we are often driven to our knees in adversity, which leads us to verse number 4. And they began to establish the church more fully. Hopefully you're seeing a pattern here with this, that being awakened to a remembrance of your duty causes you to start establishing God more fully in your life. Yea, and many were baptized in the waters of Sidon and joined the church of God. Yea, they were baptized by the hand of Alma, who had been consecrated high priest over the people by the hand of his father Alma. Verse number 5. And it came to pass in the 7th year, there's not a lot of time that's passed here, of the reign of the judges, there were about 3,500 souls that had united themselves to the church of God and were baptized. That's a ridiculous amount of people. It's crazy. 3,500 people. That is like just a couple of million joining with us today. It's a lot of people right there. Again, keeping in mind they had lost a lot, but they are starting to gain more into the church at this time period right there. And thus ended the 7th year of the reign of the judges over the people of Nephi, and there was continual peace all that time. That phrase, I don't know about you guys, that phrase always scares me in the Book of Mormon. When you see, and it's like, and it came to pass that things were going awesome. Because again, that's where it seems to be where we've got this pride cycle that starts happening. It seems like in our lives, when we are awakened to a sense of a remembrance of our duty, it is right around the time of our greatest trials. You think about our country, for example. The time periods of our country where we seem to unite the most are usually around times of trial. I mean, you go back through history, you can see numerous times where trials and adversities can very much bring a group of people together. So it's interesting how we're constantly praying for peace, but it seems like when things are peaceful, we're not always awakened to a sense of our duty. So the trick is going to be, how do we remember what we are supposed to do when things are going awesome in our lives? Because usually I don't know about you guys, but when the things are going awesome in my life, that's when I start to just get very casual, which again, here's where you see the problem going into verse number 6. Now in verse number 6, it's probably actually about verses 6 through 12. You start seeing contentions going on. You get down into verse number 6. They're waxing proud. They have exceeding riches, fine silks, fine twined linen, because of their many flocks and herds. Things are peaceful, so they're doing great. This was the cause of much affliction to Alma. Many of them were sorely grieved for the wickedness which they had seen that had begun among the people. Verse number 8, they're lifted up in the pride of their eyes, their hearts upon riches and the vain things of the world. They began to be scornful one towards another. They began to persecute those that didn't believe. And here's where it gets crazy. Verse 9, contentions. You look at some of these things. Envying, strife, malice, persecutions, pride, even to exceed the pride of those who did not belong to the church of God. Verses 10 through 12, it talks about how the church began to fail in its progress. It became a giant stumbling block to those who did not belong to the church. In fact, Alma saw that the example of the church began to lead those who were unbelievers from one piece of iniquity to another. And Alma starts seeing all this problem. So he's just like, we have got to fix this right here. So he goes to a good, wise man named Nephi, and he just says, you got this? And Nephi's like, yeah, I got this. And Alma decides to go out, and in verse number 19, it says, he did this that he himself might go forth among his people, or among the people of Nephi, that he might preach the word of God unto them, to stir them up in remembrance of their duty. Again, it's hard to be stirred up into remembrance of your duty when things are going well in your life. So Alma's like, I got to stir them up to this right here, that he might pull down by the word of God all the pride and craftiness and all the contentions which were among his people, seeing no way that he might reclaim them, save it were the bearing down in pure testimony against them. And I don't know if any of you have if there's ever been times where you feel like you have heard pure testimony. It's interesting. I don't know about you guys. When I think of pure testimony, I think of the little kids who get up in sacrament meeting. And I don't know about you. I have missed that. I've missed that for these last few months. Seeing these young children getting up and bearing pure testimony. You think of the elements of a pure testimony. God lives. Jesus is the Christ. The church is true. Russell M. Nelson is a prophet of God. The Book of Mormon is true. Joseph Smith is a prophet of God. And so that's the elements of pure testimony. And Alma's just like, I see no other way we can reclaim them except in the bearing down of pure testimony. President Spencer W. Kimball said, do not tell others how to live. Just tell them how you feel inside. That is the testimony. The moment that you begin preaching to others, your testimony has ended. So I would invite you, it's been hard to be able to find ways to bear testimony. Usually a lot of us get the once a month opportunity to be able to do that. I've loved that we've had an opportunity to do these BOM-BITES. It's given me an opportunity to really share my testimony with you guys over the last little bit. And I do want you to know that I know the church is true. It is absolutely true. Joseph Smith is and was a prophet of God. I love the Book of Mormon. I love the fact that we're sharing this. It's not just a good book, it is the word of God. And like Joseph said, a man will get nearer to God by abiding by its precepts than by any other book. I love Jesus Christ. I love him. I love what he does for me. I love the many titles of him and all the things that he does for me. I know this church is absolutely true, and I am grateful for it. It's one of the reasons that we do this every day. So we're finishing up chapter 4 this week. We're getting into chapter 5, where you really get to see what pure testimony looks like. Thanks for watching, guys. Thanks for subscribing. We love how you guys are responding to us and the good things we're hearing from you about this. Keep it up. Keep sharing these messages with others so we can get those pure testimonies out there strengthened. Thanks, guys, and have an amazing weekend. Godspeed. Bye-bye.